How many of you have moved cities? Quite a lot of you, I'm sure. So what do you account for while moving to a new city? Whatever be on your list, I'm sure cost of living invariably finds a mention. After all, goods and services do not come without a price tag, and no one is a fan of wasting hard-earned money. So that's a parameter we always look at. Now, the reason I'm asking you these questions is because the pandemic has got us all to do some thinking, advance the plan of living our dreams. As a result of this, a lot of us have decided to relocate, to move to new cities, to start afresh. Now, as you plan the next shift, here's a list that might come in handy. On Gravitas tonight, we bring you the latest list of the world's most expensive cities. What you're looking at right now are images of the world's most expensive city. This is Tel Aviv, Israel's very own tech hub. It has beaches, museums, skyscrapers, a diverse culture, vibrant nightlife, and food to die for. Tel Aviv is one of the most vibrant cities in the world, and it's sure to burn a hole in your pocket. A small apartment in the city can cost you up to $1,200 or nearly 90,000 Indian rupees a month. Eating a lunch in Tel Aviv can take you back by $15 over 1,100 rupees. A can of beer costs upwards of $3. The fare of public transport would add up to $63 or 5,000 rupees a month. It's no wonder that Tel Aviv today is the world's priciest city. The second spot is shared by Paris and Singapore. Number 3 is Zurich, followed by Hong Kong, New York, Geneva, Copenhagen, Los Angeles, and Osaka. Now, this survey was carried out by the Economist Intelligence Unit. It prepared this list by comparing US dollars for goods and services in 183 cities. How did Tel Aviv end up at the top of this list? Mostly because of Israel's currency. The shekel has been soaring. There is a supply chain problem, so goods and services too have become more expensive. Prices in Israel are up at least 10%. The survey found that Tel Aviv is the world's second most expensive city for alcohol, second most expensive city for transport, fifth for personal care items, and sixth for recreation. So Tel Aviv topped the chart, not because it is fancy or uber luxurious, but because of inflation. Just like Tehran, it climbed the most in this ranking because of price rise, economic sanctions, and shortage of goods. Last year, Tehran ranked 79th in the list of most expensive cities, 79. Today, it's on the 29th spot. Can you believe that? From 79 to 29, Tehran jumped 50 places. This tells us that just because a city features in the most expensive list, it does not automatically become a city with a great standard of living or a city that's worth your buck. Let me pull out another chart. This one has the world's most livable cities. Number 1 is Auckland. Number 2 is Osaka. Adelaide is at number 3, followed by Wellington and Tokyo. Then there is Perth, Zurich, Geneva, Melbourne, and Brisbane. This list too was drawn by the Economist Intelligence Unit. But instead of accounting for the price of goods and services, they've taken into account the living conditions of the world's cities. Number 1 is stability, which basically factors in the crime rates in the city, the threat of a military conflict, terror attacks, civil unrest. After all, a war zone is not the most livable place. So that's parameter number 1. Next comes healthcare services. If a city is to have ideal living conditions, you must have quality healthcare, both public and private hospitals. They must be accessible and affordable. Here's what else makes a city livable. Its culture and environment. Is the climate comfortable? Does the city have social or religious restrictions? Is there a cultural environment? What kind of food or drink does it serve? It may sound trivial, but it does play a big role in your day-to-day life. Imagine being hungry in the middle of the night and not having the option of food delivery. You wouldn't want that. Education also plays a big role. An ideal city must have quality private and public schools and colleges, so that families do not have to worry about their children or pay a fortune to access quality education. And last but not the least, infrastructure is critical when it comes to deciding how livable a city is. No one wants to live in a city with bad roads or water problems or be stranded in a skyscraper with no mobile network. All of this falls under the bracket of infrastructure, and along with healthcare, education, stability, culture, and environment, it makes a city livable. So when all of this was taken into account, Auckland scored 96 out of 100. And this is how the rest of them fared. But you know what? Only one city from this livable cities list features in the list of the world's most expensive cities, which proves the point I was making. An expensive city is not always a livable city. Now keep this in mind as you plan your next move. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.